Howdy, folks, and welcome back to What the Paranormal with Miss Hyde, aka me. This just happened to me, and I really, it kind of makes sense as to why I keep hearing the noises I hear, but it also is like not again kind of thing. So, quick rundown. I keep hearing like people going up and down the stairs a lot in my complex. And granted, there are 2 apartments upstairs, so figure, yeah, those people keep going up and down. But, and I have to laugh about it because it's kind of ridiculous. I was walking out this morning, I grabbed my backpack. I was closing the door, and out of the corner of my eye, I see something in the in the staircase, in the stairwell, whatever you want to call it. And I turned around and I looked, and I see a guy standing midway up the stairs. And I did a double take, so I just thought it was the neighbors upstairs. But then I stopped and I did like a quick, wait a minute. I know what the guys upstairs look like. What the hell? So I turned around again and it wasn't there. I'm like, golly. And then I hear, hey. I'm like, oh, snap. It can't be. Please tell me it's not. I'm not in the mood to deal with it. But I got to give you a little rundown. I grew up in a house that had a lot of ghostly activities. I've lived in a lot of locations that had ghostly activities. It's not the location per se that is haunted. It is that I attract them. I am a lighthouse to them. So everywhere I go, there is some type of activity. I lived in 3 apartment complexes, and all 3 apartment complexes, sadly, I've had ghost encounters. The first apartment complex I lived in a studio. The sliding doors would, it sounded like somebody was banging from the inside, and they would move on their own. You would hear things fall in the kitchen. The bathroom door would open by itself. The second complex I lived in, it had a lot of interesting stuff. The lights would turn off and on. And the light switches were the ones that you had to push to turn on. So you had to use, enough force to turn it on. They would turn on and off. It would sound like somebody was putting a key into the lock and coming in. I've had people knock on the door and nobody was there. I've had people rattle the door handle and nobody was there. Again, I've had noises in the kitchen. I've had cupboard doors open. The new one that I lived in, I've had Mr. Top Hat in the apartment. I've had my dogs bark in the corner of the bedroom. And so I've had a lot of activity that I would say is unique. Now, you want to get really interested. I grew up in a house that had some ghostly activity. But then again, my family was a beacon for a lot of this stuff. So, we attract it. At night, you would hear people walking the hallways. My mom had tile floor, so you would hear footsteps in the hallways. I remember a night specifically where I would be asleep, and you would hear these little footsteps come running into the room. And they would say, hey, you want to play? I'm around the corner, and then you'd hear the footsteps take off. So a lot of that is very intriguing and very, what's the word, scary sometimes for a child to experience. So with this coronavirus epidemic that we have going on, you have many celebrities, you have actors coming in and joining the podcast community, and you want to jump into it. Well, if you haven't heard, there's a program that you can use called Anchor, now which is the easiest way to create a podcast. It's free. Um, there's a whole bunch of creation tools that allow you to record, edit your podcast from your phone, your tablet, your laptop, your computer. Um, it'll even distribute them for you. So it'll be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other podcast platforms. You can make money with your podcast with no minimum listenership. Like I said, we have a lot of celebrities, we have a lot of actors, actresses joining the podcast community. So they'll be making money because of their followers. Well, you can do it too. You don't, I mean, you could have 2 followers and still be making money. So it's an easy way to join the podcast community because this program lets you um, make money with no minimum listenership. And it has everything you need from a podcast program all rolled into one. So if you want to join the community, don't forget to download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm and get started. Join us independent um, podcasters along with the celebrities and the actors and the actresses who are on the podcast community. So don't forget, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. I mean, I've had a lot of encounters. I've had encounters at work. At almost every job I worked at, there was an encounter. I remember one time that I was working late, doing some reports, and um, it sounded like there was somebody walking on the roof because it was a drop ceiling. So, it had tiles and stuff like that, but it sounded like we had somebody walking on the roof. And this particular night, it was around 11 o'clock or so, and one of the geologists um, was just getting back from Santa Barbara when I was still working on reports, and she was unloading her car, um, and uh, putting stuff away when um, we heard like somebody in the warehouse moving things. So lo and behold, we go and check, and nobody was there, like normal. And she continued to put stuff away, put the samples in the refrigerator and stuff, and we kept hearing noises. So she left, and then I, finished, doing my reports around midnight, maybe 12:30 in the morning, and I came back to work, at 6 a.m. to continue doing our reports. And as I was parking and, you know, um, getting my stuff to get to the car, I heard like somebody from the inside just slam right into the glass. And I was like, wait a minute, there shouldn't be anybody in the office. So, and if there was, it would be usually a geologist and they would leave the lights on. They would either leave the copier room light on because they had to make copies, or they would leave the main lights on. And it was pitch dark, just like I left it, earlier in the morning. And it was just a very weird sensation. So I opened the door, I walked in, turned on the lights, and I locked the door because nobody's due to come in till about 7:30ish or so. So I'm walking to, you know, my desk, and I felt this weird presence walking behind me, and it felt, you can hear boots. Like this person was wearing some really heavy boots. So I sit down, turn my computer on, turn the, Pandora on, and I'm busting away doing stuff. So I had to go to the file room and get some files that I needed for a particular report. So I go into the file room, and as soon as I go into the file room, it was, I mean, icy cold. And when I mean icy cold, icy cold. It felt like somebody threw in, fucking meat locker in there, and it was just ridiculously cold. I got what I needed, and I, went back to my desk and started continuing with my reports. And then I hear what sounded like somebody opening a filing cabinet drawer and then slamming it shut. So it scared me because I thought, well, like, shit, when did somebody come in and when did they go into our files? Because the office, the way it's situated, the office was separated into sections. Um, there was a, a different part of our company was handled like BP and Conoco Phillips 76 stations, and we handled Shell. So I'm like, well, who came in and started slamming our filing cabinets? And um, I got up and I walked over, and the door was closed, the light was off, and there was no sounds. But as I opened the door, you could hear the drawers moving, and I was like, oh my God, not again. So I kept it to myself for a long time, and really never told anybody about that one, except for there was another coworker who's a friend of mine now. Um, she's also experienced stuff in that location. The current job I work at, I have desk drawers opening. You could hear, it sounds like footsteps on the roof. You could hear scratching in the walls. You could hear about the bathroom door open and close. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. The main office door, which is a heavy metal door, will click open. There are three doors in the office, and all three are heavy, and they will click open and just open by themselves. So you can tell that I've had a lot of experiences with the paranormal, and um, it doesn't scare me. It doesn't faze me as much. But what does scare me is when I hear the heavy breathing in my ears, like right next to my ear, or the touching. Um, I was asleep one time in bed, and I was literally pushed off my bed and I hit the floor. That one pissed me off, and two, that scared me because they left a handprint. That's, probably the second or third time that I was physically attacked. The first time I got bitten, the first and second time I was bitten, um, and the third time I was pushed. So, I mean, I've had a lot of experiences amongst um, various locations I worked at, things that personally have happened to me. I have a lot of stories, but those are for another day. So, I just wanted to share this morning's experience that went off on a different tangent. I apologize, but I hope you guys got entertained out of this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Um, We are always welcome to feedback. You can email your feedbacks to whattheparanormal77@gmail.com. You can leave it or a comment at Apple Podcast if you have Apple, or on our Insta or Facebook or Twitter. So don't forget to share, and I will talk to you soon. Have a good day. Bye.